My name is Stan Smith from Iron Sharp K9, and I'm a dog man. So what got me into dogs? I think it was the loss of the dog, obviously, that got me into this space that made me want to do more. And it just opened doors that I didn't even know were there. So when I got into it, it reminded me so much of sports, and I was missing that from after I got injured in college. Couldn't really compete, do things that I wanted to do. And then I had this dog named Rocco, and he was able to do all this athletic stuff, and I found an outlet for him. And then for the first 2 years of his life, like, I wasn't really close to anybody, like friend-wise. I didn't really have anybody that I could just kind of talk to or really even trust it, you know, just different stuff in college, going through it. And Rocco, he was just always there. He was just always down to go and ride. Never cared about how much money we had or what we were doing or even what I smelled like. He just wanted to go. And we just developed a really, really tight bond where he just wanted to work for me. And then when we got into the training aspect, it was like, okay, I can actually tell him to do things, and he realizes he's doing them for me, and he's so athletic. He was just impressive on everything that he did. And it just become, again, like sports. You're coming out, you practice for a certain thing, and then you test your dog to see if they're actually getting it. And then I started realizing that I was a very important factor in the relationship with Rocco, because there was a lot of times where if he didn't know what he was gonna do, I'd go climb on something and be like, hey, look, come on with me. And he just learned how to do it that way. So I figured out I had to be better as well. And then one of the decoys that were at the place, he was no longer there anymore. And Butch, he asked me, he was like, you wanna learn? I said, yeah, why not? I'm already here. And it just kind of worked out. I didn't have to pay for training. I started making a little bit money training, and I had a full-time job, so it didn't really matter. But it just started to all fall into place. I mean, honestly, I didn't have any clue that, you know, this was even a thing, or even the competing sports, frisbee. I didn't know any of that existed with the dog. So it just kind of all just kind of played out for me, and I just happened to be the right place at the right time and the right person. So no, I did not see any of this going forward. So what got me into dogs? I think it was the loss of the dog, obviously. So his name was Kush. He was one of the first dogs that I've actually spent, you know, about $500-600 for at the time. He had papers, he was registered, he was a nice pit bull, and I just didn't do anything with him. I didn't know that you were supposed to do anything with dogs before I got into the training. And it was just something as simple as him busting out of the front door and not having a recall. And, you know, everything I know now, I couldn't even imagine that happening. Even if the dog gets out of the front door, not being able to call them back is just something I can't even fathom anymore. I was probably about 5-6 feet away from him, and the truck just was going, and it's kind of messed up because the truck actually sped up to make sure he killed the dog. So in Louisiana, if a dog's on the roads, I think they take pride out of taking those dogs out. And I couldn't even pull him out of the street. My buddy that was with me, he had to drag him, and yeah, I don't know. And then we went back to even that same spot, and just those same feelings came up again. And it's just like, man, he was a really nice dog. And even him laying there, he didn't look like he was dead, but he had blood coming out his nose. Like, it was just an experience that you never want to go through again, for sure. But when he got out, I shouldn't have chased him. I was kept walking, trying to get him to come, but I was going to him versus just really sitting in the front door and calling him back, getting a ball, getting some food, anything now, rather than going out and trying to get him to come back, where he thought it was a nice, fun game until it wasn't anymore.
What thoughts were going through your head at that time, too?
$500 gone, like my dog's gone, like just lost, like more than anything. So I didn't have a dog for a while, and then when we moved back to my parents' house, I just grabbed another dog, you know, a little $100 dog or whatever off of Craigslist, a little black pit mix thing, and I just started playing with her. Still no formal commands or anything like that, but it was my parents' dog. And then we ended up moving to my own place, and that's where I had some more Craigslist dogs that I got for about 50 bucks, and they just weren't good. And I was walking around the neighborhood with one of those dogs, and this guy was in his backyard, and he was like, "Hey, you stay over there, right?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I seen you walking your dog." He's like, "I got one puppy left." I said, "Last pup, let me see." And he pulls out Rocco, and Rocco looked like a little teddy bear, man. It was like, his ears were there, and I'm like, man, I like this dog. I really like him. And he was like, "Man, give me $100 for him." I said, "Bet. I get paid on Friday. I'll come back and pick him up." He said, "No, take this dog. My dad said it needs to be out of the house. I know where you live if you don't pay me." I said, "Bet. That's cool." And from the first moment that I brought Rocco home, I had 2 older dogs, set him down. He's probably about 8, 9 weeks old. And he just walked around like he owned the place. And I'm like, ooh, okay. And again, I had no clue what I was even looking at, you know, him then. But now I'm like, man, he had drive, he had this, he had heart, he had everything that you're looking for in a dog. And I just happened to get lucky. So it just happened to work out how it was supposed to. And then for the first 2 years of his life, like, I wasn't really close to anybody, like friend wise. I didn't really have anybody that I could just kind of talk to or really even trust it, you know, just different stuff in college, going through it. And Rocco, he was just always there. He was just always down to go and ride. Never cared about how much money we had or what we were doing or even what I smelled like. He just wanted to go. And we just developed a really, really tight bond where he just wanted to work for me. And then when we got into the training aspect, it was like, okay, I can actually tell him to do things. And he realizes he's doing them for me. And he's so athletic. He was just impressive on everything that he did. I would say the defining moment was actually going on Top Dog. And you know, all of the work that Rocco and I put in without anybody watching paid off. Everything that we did on the show, it was just stuff that I did with my dog because I thought it was cool. I thought jumping in through car windows was cool. I thought him grabbing stuff off of walls was cool. Us jumping over stuff, all of that stuff I just thought was cool to do with my dog. And then we got the opportunity to showcase it, and really coming out of nowhere and nobody expecting us to do good on there. And us going out and have the fastest time on the on the obstacle course, that gained a lot of confidence for me because we're going up against 15-year veterans with their 4th or 5th dog in the police department, you know, people with these extreme followings on social media, and it's just little old Rocco and I.
But this is the moment I've been waiting for. Our underdog, Team Rocco. What do you think, Nick?
He's the smallest, a bit of a disadvantage, but more importantly, he's not used to climbing in and out of cars like police canines, and he's not bred to instinctively grab balls.
Nick, please keep it clean, brother. All right, here we go. If Rocco beats Benito's time of 4 minutes 32 seconds, he automatically moves on to the next round.
Attaboy. No!
And going out there and him just doing everything that I wanted him to do, he looked like he was having fun and he was good at it. And it's just, I mean, we were on ESPN, we were on TMZ, just people just started, I didn't even know even followed us. They're like, "Man, I saw y'all on TMZ," or "I saw you on ESPN." I'm like, "What? We were on ESPN?" And they're sending me links. Like, that helped really just be like, okay, we are good at this and we just need to believe in it. And yeah, I would say that was probably the defining moment that, you know, was a blessing and a curse at the same time. It became bigger than just me. So this lady hit me up and she said her son had, like, I forget what it was, like an illness where he had to keep going to the hospital, and she was like, "Hey, my son really likes your videos, you guys are fun, da 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 da." And like, I was like, man, this is bigger than me. So like on days that I'm sad or upset, or I don't post because of somebody's comment who hates me or whatever it is, like there's a kid who's literally waiting for my videos to post. And once I really got out of my head, like, it's not about me, it's not what about people say about me or how they feel about me, it's about the people who believe or who will look up to me or who gain motivation from the stuff that I had to go through or I talk about or I even do with my dogs. They just gain motivation and feel like they can do more as well. So once I really started focusing on that versus the people that didn't like it or didn't want me to be successful, I started getting the love and the joy back. And like I sent him a t-shirts and different stuff like that. She's like, he won't even take it out of the packaging, he's gonna put it on his wall. So I'm like, man, no, I'm gonna send you another shirt so you can wear one and you can put it up on your wall. And that was the big thing for me, is when it's bigger than me. Way bigger than me.